All right, everybody. So we'll start by opening up this pump. All right. So first, this is the B1 frictions, and you know, they're all kind of worn out. This thing's got a lot of miles on it. The thing with these Mercedes is, you can see they are one-sided. So you have frictions one side, friction material one side, and steel on the other side. So this is the B1. I'm going to take the bolts out that holds the pump body and gears in. They're T45 bolts on the inside. And then we'll take the outside out, which will probably release the stator. Okay. And I like to leave two in just a little bit, because those are the ones we're going to lightly tap on. Okay. So hit one on each side, and it's coming down. Okay. Then we'll take these out. And that was the pump. Okay, this is the pump, body and gears. This actually looks pretty good. A lot of times when the pump does go bad, it'll score up the bell housing. But I believe there is a plate that's available that you can actually save the bell housing, so you don't have to change it. But this one actually is okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take all these the inner bolts out here. They're probably 27s or 30s. Okay, they're 30, T30s. And that should release the stator. These out of here. A couple of more. Now let's see if this thing will come out. All right, I just went over to the foot press, and I got the ring out so we can take the piston and stuff out. So this is your ring that holds down this Belleville return spring, and this actually has a lip on it. So you gotta face it down. I don't know if if camera's picking that up, but this faces down when you put this back together. All right, now we're going to take the piston out. This is a molded piston. And let's see if we can get this stator out. Comes out. Here is the plate. All right, so this is just the bell. This plate comes off. I like to change this on the overhaul. And this is your stator here. You got 2 rings, a couple of bearings, and that houses the B1 clutch. Okay, here is the K1. Okay, the frictions again are one-sided. Again, you know, they just kind of look worn out. They don't really look the greatest. Probably going to wind up getting a banner kit. All right, now I'm going to take this sprag out. It's the F1 sprag. It's probably going to fall apart. Let's see. All right, it has a snap ring. Hold it in the snap ring here. Okay, she's out. Surfaces don't feel bad. Now, on this one, I don't know if we'll be able to pick this up. Let me find it. A lot of times there's an arrow. There's an arrow on these sprags to show which way it goes. Okay, actually here it is. The arrow, of course, is going to point down. It's tough to see. A lot of times these sprags are lighter in color, and you can see it a lot easier. But there's an arrow normally. And this is all busted up. Look at this. This is all broken, the cage. But there's normally an arrow, and I believe the arrow is going to face down. So you put the sprag in with the arrow facing down that way. And again, it freewheels counterclockwise and locks to the clock. Actually, this drum is a little pitted here. Camera won't be able to pick it up, but there is a couple. It's not 100% smooth, so this drum is going to be changed also. This is again the K1 clutch, and the sprag is destroyed. Okay, so let's make a little room. Okay, now this is your K2 clutch, and snap ring. Here is the ring gear. Okay. And here is the K2 clutch. This here is your, I guess, your front planet. This is a washer here that fits right inside there like that. All right, so we'll put that in there so we don't. And let's check out the K2 clutch. Okay, now these are double-sided frictions, and again, they're all just kind of worn out. I don't really like any of the frictions I'm seeing right now. And these are all going to get changed. This here You got 3 sealing rings, and this is the K2 clutch. This, of course, is the input shaft. This goes into the converter here. This is the K2. All right, now let's take a look at this real quick, and then we'll get into the K3. But this is the B2, and the larger one was the B3. So this is the B2, B3 housing. There's probably about 3 different pistons in here. And I want to show you something. I want to look at the clutches and then go over a quick how this particular drum is supposed to be assembled. Okay. These are double-sided frictions also. The friction has the teeth on the outside, and the steel has the teeth on the inside. So again, these are just, you know, they're not burnt out, but they are worn out, so they're going to be changed. Okay, now, with the assembly of this drum would have to come all apart. It's probably, like I said, 3-4 pistons in here. And these are the applies. It anchors here with the 2 bolts that I took apart. And these are the applies. Okay, now when you put this together, there is a bleed orifice. I'm hoping you can, I'm holding it so you could see it. There's a bleed orifice right where my light is. Okay, that has to face opposite of these. I guess you could say maybe at the, from here, the 12 o'clock position, that bleed orifice. If it does not, you might get possibly harsh garage shifts. So you got to pay special attention to that hole in accordance to these when you're reassembling this unit. Okay, now we got the K3 clutch, which also is going to house the F2 sprag. Now just to make it a little easier, let's take these rings off. I got no nails. Okay, that's one. Back in the day, on the early Mercedes, when these first came out, like in '96, they would use the regular butt cut rings. These are like the hardened Vinton style, and a lot of times the rings would wear out on the early ones. And what would happen is when it was cold, it would work okay. But when it got hot, it would start to slip. And a couple of the early ones I did, like the early MLs that I did, the rings were worn down practically to nothing. So we got a snap ring here with the eyelids. So let me get my pliers. Okay, let's see if we can get this out. Okay, there's a snap ring, and then we got a bearing, a race, a bearing, and then the bottom part, which is kind of like it sits over everything. So this is going to sit like this, that'll sit like that, and then the snap ring on top. Okay. Here is the rear planet. You want to be careful of this bearing because this goes bad. You know, it doesn't go bad, but what happens is I remove this when I'm cleaning everything, and sometimes when you put this back, it won't seat as good as it does, and when you slide everything on, it might caught it and catch it and break it. I've honestly done that actually just once. Then I started paying special attention to it. So here's the rear planet. Here's another part of the rear planet. Your clutch is right here, B3, B2. And this is the K3 clutch, which houses the F2 sprag, and this will just come right off like this. There's a couple of what seals this drum, but there are two O-rings that seal that. And there's also a snap ring, that's why this won't come apart. So let's open the K3 clutch. Again, these are one-sided, friction material one side and nothing on the other side. And now what we're going to do is I got to get a pair of snap ring pliers, the bigger kind, and let's see if we can get that snap ring out. Okay, here is the snap ring. Now this should come right out. Okay, that looks good. And this is the F2 sprag. Let's see where that went. And this F2 sprag, this fits right in here, but the F2 sprag doesn't have the two caps like the F1 does. Just has the bottom base and it has the top cap, and that just goes straight in like that with the snap ring. So what we found so far is the F1 sprag to be completely destroyed. Even the rollers are falling out. The K1 clutch drum is going to have to be replaced. And you can't just put any drum in here. You're actually going to have to count these teeth. There's, I believe, 2 different styles. You have to count these teeth and ensure the correct drum is going to be put back. All right, so now I'm just going to make a little room here and pull the valve body up so we can ID the solenoids. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, on the valve body, you have 6 solenoids and the conductor plate and the valve body itself. These here are your speed sensors, the N2, N3 speed sensors. And as far as the solenoids go, this is the lockup solenoid. Here, this is the 2-3 shift solenoid. These are your pressure solenoids here. One is, I believe this is modulating pressure and this is shift pressure. This is your 1, 2, 4, 5, and this is your 3, 4 shift solenoid. And the conductor plate, as they call it, that houses the speed sensors. This is where the pass-through connector and the wires go in. This actually is held on. You got to take the hold-down brackets off for the solenoids. Take all the solenoids out. There's a clip here. There's a clip on opposite that hold this in, and you just kind of pull the clips up and pull the conductor plate up. This gets changed on the overhaul. And that's pretty much about it with the valve body. If you happen to open a valve body, just take note. A lot of check balls and springs. Make sure everything gets back in the right spot. And that's pretty much about it for this 2003 Mercedes 722.6 transmission. This had I guess a really bad flare on the 1-2 shift. And what we did is we put this in winter mode. And in winter mode, I believe this starts out in second, so we weren't getting that funky shift. The 2-3 shift was fine. And then back to regular economy or sport mode, it would have the bad shift. So we got the okay, obviously, to pull it, and we found this sprag to be destroyed. Sometimes also would have a delayed engagement in drive, and sometimes a very harsh downshift, 2 to 1. But pretty much the noticeable complaint was the 1-2 flare, very bad flare, I guess you could say, on the upshift. And a lot of times with the 722.6s, the sprag whether it be the F1 or the F2, is the bridge for the shift. So even if you have possibly a flare on a 3/4 shift, that would be your F2 sprag, I believe, would be an issue. That's how important they are, and the sprags have been updated. I believe the early ones were, I'm thinking 16 element, and they had quite a high bit of failure rate, so they upgraded it to 20 element sprag, and regardless, every overhaul, both sprags should be changed. I'm not even sure if there are aftermarket ones out there, but I would not use them. I just stick with the OE stuff, OE overhaul kit, a Stuttgart kit, OE sprags. The conductor plate usually is OE, filters, and that's really about it. For this trans. So I'm going to call the customer, we'll get the okay to do the overhaul. And again, I thank you guys for watching. I ask that you please subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you next time, and have a great day.